How's it going there, everybody? It's Mr. Zen over here bringing you guys a brand new video for today. And for today's segment, guys, we're going to be talking about is the brand new film Kong Skull Island. Yes, folks, I actually just saw it a couple hours ago, and I actually thought to myself, like, you know what? Let me talk about it, because I thoroughly enjoyed that film and thought to myself, it has its own reasoning and it just about enough facts to actually say, you know what? I can make a video about this. Now, the movie Kong Island, folks, don't get me wrong, that movie was a pumped up action film. No matter what Kong film remake they always make, it's always going to be pumped up action. Granted though, we see that this Kong movie was a little bit more on its own unique style of storytelling, as it per se that Kong wasn't necessarily a villain in this movie, folks. Yes, folks. Kong wasn't a villain, he was actually a savior, which I thought to myself, that was pretty entertaining. And judging by the way that the storytelling was going, it felt like a sequel could commence, or actually a series could start from this movie itself. That I personally thought, I love the way that the writers actually went with the story, that it ended not on a whim, but it ended enough to actually say that they could expand Kong's universe. Kong can have more enemies, humans can commit. Like, I'm just loving the way that the movie itself is actually portraying itself in order for this kind of reboot that it actually made. Granted though, there are still some things that kind of tweak me just a tiny bit. But needless to say though, the movie was grade A, folks. Now, the movie of course is still in that same storytelling where a group of travelers, we know they find an island inhabited by storms, lots of giant animals, etc, etc. But this one kind of did its own unique way, and by that I mean it's because it seems that like an FBI investigator or a top dog in the government, I should say, not really an FBI investigator, but like a top dog in the government itself, was actually just he was trying to see what this island was inhabiting that nobody was able to get into. And basically he just wanted to be a famous explorer. He wanted to be that person that actually brought about a new land terrain, new animals. He wanted to be basically someone famous, and he brought an Ivy League student, he brought the Navy, he brought so many people into Kong Island itself that's when everything kind of went to shambles. And by that I mean is the fact that it's separated into two different storylines once the island was in there. That's what I kind of liked about the film, was that for that specific reason. But the thing that I didn't like about was the fact that they actually made a horrible villain for Kong. Like, it felt like the villain itself was an understatement for Kong himself. That's the only thing. Like, the villain was okay and everything, but just it felt like it wasn't necessarily on par with Kong. It just felt like it was a top meat eater, because the villain that was involved for Kong wasn't necessarily the humans. It was necessarily another giant kaiju beast that was freaking involved in Skull Island itself. But they gave it a backstory. They gave it enough dialogue to emphasize the fact that this creature has been there just as long as Kong. And it's funny because they actually gave Kong some ancestral storyline that it made sense as to that Kong had a feud between this new creature that we've been seeing. It's hilarious, but yet it made sense. But just to me, it felt like this wasn't the type of villain that I personally would have not wanted Kong to face against, because it just felt weak, in my honest opinion. And the only reason why this beast that Kong fought in the film was because it was overshadowed by the fact that the humans themselves were actually there. It felt like the kaiju battles were just there just to make the action seem more pizzazz. But in my honest opinion, the human travelers that came to Skull Island and the main cast themselves, I feel like they actually took the cake itself. That it felt like the kaiju battle was just nothing. Like you can disregard that. To me that didn't shine in my honest opinion, and that's the thing that I liked. It was the humans story wise telling of how they experienced the visitation of Skull Island itself. Now, what I personally found hilarious was Samuel L. Jackson, folks. Samuel L. Jackson. This guy, every time he's in a movie, he is grade A, folks. He is grade A because of the fact that Samuel actually was more of an antagonist slowly throughout the whole entire movie. At first, he was like a war hero, and then he slowly started becoming insane due to the fact that he was putting his pride online. Like, that was his sin involved in this movie. He was this character trope that was involved with his own greed of taking down Kong himself. And that's the thing I like about throughout the whole entire film, was the fact that we see that Samuel L. Jackson's character, it was developing into an antagonist in the way that he was blinded by his own ambition. He was blinded by the fact that he sees Kong only as an animal. He doesn't see nothing else as nothing more. But yet it's funny because the way that the movie was actually portraying the Kong film, they were portraying as a god, as a protector, as a being itself that's actually there for the people that are actually inhabited on Skull Island, which I thought was hilarious, because people that were actually inhabited in Skull Island, they were fairly nicer than the other Kong films. The other Kong films seemed like they were kind of more creepier and more carnivorous, versus the ones here in this film, they felt more like they were in tune with nature, and they actually love one another as a being. It's hilarious, but I love the way they were going with it. Now, like I said, back to Samuel L. Jackson, I love the way that they were feuding. It was literally a David versus Goliath fight. Advanced technology versus old primal beast technology. It's hilarious. There's a lot of symbolism that was involved too with Samuel L. Jackson, and that was the fact that Samuel L. Jackson was this character trope where greed cannot get you anywhere. The safety of others was minimized for Samuel L. Jackson's character, as he was the one that was actually putting many of the lives of the fellow travelers that went to Skull Island because of him. Like, if it wasn't for his character, everyone else literally would have left the island and just left Kong alone. In my honest opinion, that was actually pretty entertaining, because Samuel Jackson was able to portray such a good antagonist in the film, that I thought to myself that, it made it worthwhile to watch. And plus, we always get those wonderful lines that Samuel Jackson always says. Those wonderful curse words, which I'm not gonna say because I can't imitate that perfectly. But Samuel Jackson's wonderful curse words are always invoked. They only did it once, but that was to give for that shock treatment value for us fans and viewers for the movie itself. But like I said, like the film throughout the whole entire time was very wonderful. I love the fact that they were kind of invoking more of a Japanese theme involved in the film itself, because they kind of gave the thing that, of course it was World War II, but it gave off that theme that, America and the Japanese were actually kind of siding together when they meet up against a common foe. Of course, this was during World War II, where they were America was facing off against Japan during Pearl Harbor, etc., etc. But I love the fact they were kind of invoking that Japanese mythology of the samurai, because one of the Japanese pilots, he had a sword, and that sword itself, it was a very outstanding weapon that I thoroughly enjoyed. It felt like it stood out against all the technology and the guns and explosive weapons that the U.S. Army brought in there. It was just hilarious, because the samurai sword was actually doing more damage than all the other guns itself. Like, it made so much sense as to why, because of the fact that you're here in a primal place, that that all you really need is just a knife, and against all odds, that's all you really need. A gun can only get you so far, but the blade itself will stick forever, which I thought that was pretty entertaining. And also the fact that even Kong did a homage to a samurai, you could say, fight when he was fighting against that giant kaiju battle, the Skull Crusher, as one of the natives calls it. And that was hilarious, because he grabs one of the trees and he rips apart the branches around it, like as if he's unsheathing a sword. And I thought to myself, wow, wow, the symbolism behind that. Wow, it was amazing. Love the way that I'm telling you, like, love the way that the storytelling wise was actually going with it, and I'm loving the fact that also the indigenous people actually even were given there for comic relief purposes as well, and for giving that sense of touch of away from technology itself. These indigenous people were very, very, not necessarily creepy, but more or less as an ominous and mysterious presence that they had. Which they could have gone with a much more story too as well. Which, like I said, this Kong film actually was pretty well written and well scripted. That I personally give it a grade A, guys. I give it a grade A. But just that the villain itself felt like Kong might have needed a better monster to fight with. But like I said though, let me know down in the comments below as to what you guys' thoughts on the movie itself. And like I said, I personally thought the movie was great. Just the villain monsters itself, they could have worked a little bit more. But like I said, I love the way the fact that the humans themselves were actually going with Kong itself, like the feud between them, greed over the way that they could have just been rescued themselves. You know, don't overconsume yourself by greed. Love that theme. That was the theme of the whole entire film. But like I said, guys, let me know down in the comments below as to what you guys' thoughts. And as always, guys, if you guys enjoy my content, don't forget to give a like, comment, share, and subscribe for more discussions, movie reviews, live reactions, and more. And as always, hope you guys are having a wonderful day. But this is Mr. Zen, signing out.